plata, plata. Cash, cash, cash.
Recording in progress.
Get money, get money. It's bam, bam, bam. Hey, it's bam, bam. She wanna flick for the gram. Plus, her baby sabe who I am, so she wanna do it all on cam. Like, hold up, sabe how to hold a pull up. Soon as we done, I'ma roll up. Four lines are better, I pull up. Papi te paga los biles, pero quiero todo lo tuyo. Prefieres hacerlo conmigo, que siempre lo hacemos bien duro. I bought a Benz, straight from the trap. I don't like paying no taxes. I don't need friends, solo una mami. Papi te enseño what racks is. Me and my chick, we got a chick. Yeah, we treat her like a pet. She keep it G, she keep it tranqui, but she be down with the set. Ay, me and my chick, we got a chick. Yeah, we treat her like a pet. Ay, EBK if you all in the way, you in the field with a vet. Ay, bam, bam, she wanna flick for the gram. Plus, her baby sabe who I am, so she wanna do it all on cam. Like, hold up, sabe how to hold a pull up. Soon as we done, I'ma roll up. Four lines are better, I pull up. Ay, bam, bam, she wanna flick for the gram. Plus, her baby sabe who I am, so she wanna do it all on cam. Like, hold up, sabe how to hold a pull up. Soon as we done, I'ma roll up. Four lines are better, I pull up. Vestido Mbappe, rich como Mbappe, I can never let her stop me. In the backseat, I'm with your chick, I love it when she be on top, man. Windows black, that's a fact, she don't even mind getting sloppy. Shooter outside, holding it down, si le digo que hace, he like copy. Ábrame la ventana para ventilar este humo. No way, Mr. Officer, soy un trap star, so you know. Fumo, bebo, vendo, ¿qué le digo? You know where I'ma send you. Bam, bam, she wanna flick for the gram. Plus, her baby sabe who I am, so she wanna do it all on cam. Like, hold up, sabe how to hold a pull up. Soon as we done, I'ma roll up. Four lines are better, I pull up. Dame la plata, plata. Cash, cash, cash. Bam, bam, she wanna flick for the gram. Toda esa puta saben who I am, so she wanna take this beach on cam. Like, hold up, she wanna swallow this pull up. Soon as I bust, I'ma roll up. Four lines are better, I pull up. Papi te paga los biles, nada más que quiero ese culo. Prefiere el sexo conmigo, que yo te lo meto bien duro. I bought a Benz, straight from the trap. I don't like paying no taxes. I don't need friends, solo una mami. Papi te enseño what racks is. Me and my bitch, we got a bitch. Yeah, we treat her like a pet. She keep it G, she keep it tranqui, but she be down with the set. Ay, me and my bitch, we got a bitch. Yeah, we treat her like a pet. Ay, EBK if you all in the way, you in the field with a vet. Ay, bam, bam, she wanna flick for the gram. Toda esa puta saben who I am, so she wanna take this beach on cam. Like, hold up, she wanna swallow this pull up. Soon as I bust, I'ma roll up. Four lines are better, I pull up. Bam, bam, she wanna flick for the gram. Toda esa puta saben who I am, so she wanna take this beach on cam. Like, hold up, she wanna swallow this pull up. Soon as I bust, I'ma roll up. Four lines are better, I pull up. Vestido Mbappe, rich como Mbappe, I can never let her stop me. In the backseat, I'm with your bitch, si me encanta ese topic. Windows black, that's a fact, she don't even mind getting sloppy. Shooter outside, holding the mat, si le digo dispara y like copy. Ábrame la ventana para ventilar este humo. Fuck you, Mr. Officer, soy un trap star, so you know. Fumo, bebo, vendo, ¿qué le digo? Pa'l carajo ese celdo. Bam, bam, she wanna flick for the gram. Toda esa puta saben who I am, so she wanna take this beach on cam. Like, hold up, she wanna swallow this pull up. Soon as I bust, I'ma roll up. Four lines are better, I pull up. Yeah.
What is going on, everybody? What is up? What is up? What is going on? Welcome to tonight's session, tonight's stream. It is your boy Abel checking in one time. Super excited to be here with every single one of you guys as usual. Because it's a new week, man. It's a new trading week. I'm excited for the new trading week. And I know you guys are excited for it as well. It's going to be a phenomenal week, man. It's going to be a phenomenal week, family. It's going to be a phenomenal week. And hopefully you guys are absolutely ready for this phenomenal week that we have this up and coming week, man. Let's get it. But I see what we got in the building tonight, family. I see we got Play God Drake in the building. Jose, what's up? My guy Cove in the building. What's going on, Cove? Good to see you, my brother. Right, we got Lotus in the house. How are you doing? Brother Joe, always great to see you in the building. All right, we got Efrain. I hope I said that right. Either way, I think I might have said it correctly. Either way, I said it. But shout out to you for tuning in. I definitely appreciate you. ATL in the house as well. What's going on, Michael? Shout out to you guys for rocking with us tonight, family. Go ahead and smash that like button one time real quick. If you guys can hear my voice, let me know by smashing that like button. We're going to have a really good session as usual. And we got a lot to talk about, family. Absolutely a lot to talk about to start off today. To start off this week. This is actually a very heavy news week, right? It's not, I don't want to say heavy, right? But we got some major news dropping this week that everybody should be aware of. Everybody should be paying attention to. Because the news that's going to come out this week can really sway sentiment overall. And when we understand what the sentiment can be in the markets, especially if you understand the fundamental and the sentimental side of markets, then it can obviously put us in a lot of better position moving forward for sure. Right, but big shout out to every single one of you guys that's rocking with us. I see we got Michael Bowman in the building. What's going on, Michael? Good to see you. Shout out to all my people out there in upstate New York. You guys are absolutely phenomenal. I appreciate y'all so much. Let's go ahead and get right into this, family. I'll lower this music real quick. And let's go ahead and get right into it, man. I don't want to waste too much time. And I want to go ahead and just give you guys a quick rundown of what we have to be aware of for this week in terms of news. Right, so going into tomorrow, we don't have nothing too crazy on the actual calendar. On Tuesday, what do we have? Anything crazy on Tuesday? We don't have nothing too crazy on Tuesday neither. But Wednesday is when it really starts to get interesting, family, overall, right? Because Wednesday is when we have, one of the most important news events that everybody should be paying attention to. All right, and that is CPI and our core CPI numbers coming out. Right now, we should all know how important these numbers really are, family. Right, core CPI. Good night. Core CPI and regular CPI, because I mean that is a measure of inflation. Right. Whenever we're talking about, a sentiment in this market right now, or sentiment overall, based off what we believe smart money could be doing. Right, the big institutions. These are one of those events that they actually pay attention to. Right, absolutely. And the reason for that is because it's a measure of inflation, right? Inflation has been the thing that we've been battling for the past 2 years now, it seems like, right? So, it's one of those things that we cannot take lightly. I expect volatility, a lot of it, to actually come into the market based off this release. And that's why it's so important for us to actually be aware of it, right? So we have, again, CPI numbers coming out on Wednesday. Now, on Thursday, family, right, we also have even before I get into Wednesday, right? I don't want to not just look at. I only looked at USD news because that's usually what I trade. But we do have some GDP coming out as well for the pound that we kind of want to be aware of for anybody that is trading any pound pairs. I know we have a lot of GJ fans in the building. I'm a big trader. I'm a big fan of trading GJ as well. So obviously that's something that we can be aware of, right? But going into Thursday, family, we do have some more interesting news, right? With the euro, right? Their actual deposit facility rate is actually coming out, right, which is going to be interesting to see, followed by their actual interest rate decision. They're actually expecting to keep their interest rates at 4.25%. But either way, we should expect some type of volatility around this news event because it is a major news event overall. But what I'm actually going to be more so paying attention to is going to be PPI, right, core PPI for the U.S. and core retail sales on Thursday, right? I believe core PPI and core retail sales can absolutely bring a lot of volatility. And it's another one of those news events, guys, or at least these two news events are news events that all the big time money is paying attention to, right? Because when we're talking about big time money in the markets, the big money, they're paying attention to these news events because it's giving them an insight as to what they believe the economy is going to do, right? If we have higher PPI or higher CPI, that is not necessarily a good thing, right? If we have higher retail sales, that is not necessarily a good thing, right? If we see all those indicators actually increase this week, then we have to assume that the dollar is probably going to continue to gain strength. Because if our objective is to try to fight inflation, right, we want to see the price of goods and services to continue to drop, get closer to that 2% year over year mark, then we do not want to see these numbers go higher. So for CPI on Tuesday, we don't want to see this go higher, right? We just don't. As of right now, they're expecting core to drop, but they're expecting regular CPI to go up, right? And I'll actually start some discussion on that in a few, but same thing for PPI, right? We don't want to see these numbers go up, right? With core PPI or PPI, even with retail sales, right? We don't want to see these numbers go up. If our whole objective is to fight inflation, if we are the Federal Reserve, I'm Jerome Powell, I'm the chairman of the Federal Reserve, right? And I'm really gauging these indicators or these news events to see if we're still on the correct path, then I do not want to see those go up. Right? If any of these news events come out higher than expected, then that is probably going to lead to bullish dollar. Why? Because the dollar benefits during times of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Now, on the flip side, if all these, news events come out lower than expected, then the dollar's probably going to tank, and that means gold should benefit. Gold should go to the upside. Indices should go to the upside. All the foreign currencies like the euro, the pound, such and such should also go to the upside, right? And these news events right here, CPI, PPI, retail sales, are all news events that can absolutely shake these markets based on what they actually come out as, right? So that's why I'm going to be very excited to actually trade these news events live with all of our Profit Society premium members. Hopefully you guys are excited for this week because these are actual news events we'll be able to trade together, right? See what the numbers come out as. And if we get some opportunities to take advantage of the markets, phenomenal, right? We'll definitely go ahead and do that as well. But again, it is going to be a very interesting week, guys, especially Wednesday going into Thursday for those reasons, right? Especially if you are a dollar trader like myself. Okay, now let's go ahead and go into Friday, guys. What else do we have here on Friday? Let's see what we got. We got nothing too crazy on Friday whatsoever, right? So it's mainly just going to be, Wednesday and Thursday that are going to be the heavy news focused days of the week, right? And that's all going to happen, right before New York session, actually right at the start of New York session. So we're going to be trading that live together, right? So I'm excited for that for sure. And hopefully you guys are as well, right? But let's see who else we got in the building, family. We got Lou in the house. What's up? What's up? We got my guy Matthew in the building. Christian, what's going on, my brother? Appreciate you guys all for tuning in this week. And for those of you guys that are a part of the premium, you guys know how we love these type of weeks, right? We love these type of weeks because we understand fundamental analysis and we understand how to interpret it, right? So I'm excited for this week because we're going to be able to really predict it at a high level for sure, right? For sure. So let's definitely get it, right? But I see you, Alana. How are you doing as well? Shout out to you for tuning in, right, onto tonight's call, right? So that's just my little quick rundown, family, of the major news of this week. Again, Wednesday and Thursday are definitely going to be the main important days of the week because we have some major news coming out, and I'm excited to trade it live with everybody inside the premium community overall. Bam. Perfect. Right, now just give me 1 second. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the dollar, family, and start off our analysis, man. And the markets actually ended up opening up pretty interesting this week, right? So if we're looking at the dollar itself, we ended up actually dropping, a good 20, 30 pips already on the open, right? So we've seen a nice drop here. Clearly, there was a lot of selling pressure over the weekend that ended up causing us to gap to the downside here. And that's very interesting to see. Now, what do I think the dollar is going to do overall going into this week? Well, it's kind of hard for me to shy away from dollar strength, but I'm also not opposed to seeing a deeper correction to start the week neither, right? Especially going into Wednesday and Thursday. Why not give us a correction, right? Why not go ahead and see price go a little bit lower, right? I would actually be a big fan of that. Why? Because we've seen pretty much some strong strength in the market, guys, for the past week and a half. I think we could be due for a nice correction here. And then from that point, I would still be looking for more upside overall. But I'm going to be honest with you guys. It really depends on what happens with news on Wednesday and Thursday on if I'm actually going to continue to expect higher pricing here on the dollar. Remember, like I said, right? Let me write this out real quick so you guys can see it. Right? CPI and PPI. And we also have retail sales. Right? If all these come out higher than expected. All right, let me see if I can write it out so it's easy for you guys to see. Higher than expected. Right? Equals bullish the dollar. Okay? And then lower than expected, right? And we're talking about based off the predictions that are given on a lot of these calendars that we look at, right? This is going to be bearish the dollar. Now, why is this and why is that? Well, family, right? Anything that comes out higher than expected is going to be looked at as inflationary. We don't want that. If it comes out lower than expected, then it's disinflationary. We want that. Okay? Do not think, and this is a big confusion that a lot of traders have, right? When we're looking at the state of our economy and we're comparing it to our dollar, right? People believe that when our dollar's going to shit, that our economy is doing bad. That's really not even true, right? It's honestly the opposite of that, right? If our dollar's going to hell, if our dollar's weakening, then more times than not, our stock market is getting stronger. And if our stock market is getting stronger, then more times than not, then our economy is doing really good. Now, on the flip side, if the dollar is actually gaining strength, right, which is what we've been seeing so far for the past, month and a half at this point, right? When the dollar is gaining strength, then that is usually a sign that we're not really doing too good in terms of the economy here in the US, right? When this is going up, more times than not, our economy is experiencing some type of issue, right? Whether it's bad news, bad data. So that means that most traders and investors are going towards the dollar for safety, right? Remember, the US dollar is a safe haven currency, right? So when the dollar's increasing in value, that means that there's some stuff happening, right? There's some stuff happening that's really causing some fear in the markets. But when it's dropping, it's the opposite, right? That means there's a lot of positive news, a lot of positive data, and a lot of positivity so far in the markets for sure. Overall, okay? So that's pretty much what we're going to be playing going into the news. And I kind of have to lean towards, I would love to see us go ahead and give us this correction overall. But I really won't have a solid play until we actually get the data on Wednesday and Thursday. Okay, so I would love to see us drop just because I feel like we're due for a correction. But depending on the news is what's going to tell me on what I do after that. Okay? So I'm excited for it because I really want to see what it really happens for sure, right? But keep in mind, this is my play here. If all this data comes out higher than expected, I'm bullish. If it comes out lower than expected, then I am bearish and I'm going to be expecting more downside overall. Okay? Perfect. All right, let's see what else we got in the building. Eric in the house. What's going on? Jerry, my guy, man. What's going on, family? Shout out to all you guys that are tuning in. Shadia, I see you as well. All right, shout out to you as well for being here with us tonight. All right, but let's see what we got here. The greater financial interest in a given field, the less likely the research findings are to be true. That's an interesting outlook, Eric. Let's see, it's a steep up structure which makes it iffy. Yeah, nah, I get what you're saying for sure. All right, I just look at this market right here, and although we are creating higher highs and higher lows, right, which is what a lot of retail traders will be paying attention to. Honestly, we're all retail traders no matter how you trade. But when we read structure, yeah, we see the higher highs and these higher lows, right? So a lot of people are looking at that and saying, man, we can just continue going bullish. And although it is possible, right, for this market just to go ahead, right, it doesn't have to give us a deep correction. It really doesn't, right? The market going to do what it wants to do. This could absolutely continue to go bullish. But we have some signs, right, like imbalances, right, like order blocks. We have some signs that could be giving us clues that it's time for us to reverse, right? There could be signs. Now, is it possible for this to continue? Like I said, it is. But I'm actually a big fan of seeing if we can go ahead and possibly start to correct this market, fill some of these inefficiencies, these imbalances. And then from that point, hopefully the data comes out how I would want, and I will be looking for more continuations overall. Right? But I think, and I could be wrong, but I think there's just so much liquidity being built up below this trend line right here, right? Liquidity. There's so much liquidity built up below this reaccumulation situation that we just had there, right? So there's just, in my opinion, this is my opinion, I could be wrong, but my opinion, it just seems like there's just so much liquidity that has been built up that, in my opinion, if we do want to continue bullish, we would have to grab, right? We would have to grab, right? That is just my opinion overall, but that's why I'm definitely leaning towards a possible correction, but I'm still going to be, sticking strong with bullish dollar based off what we currently know. Obviously, it can change depending on what the data comes out on Wednesday and Thursday. Okay. Perfect. Right. Now let's go ahead and take a quick look at the markets, family, and see the pairs that I'm personally going to be trading this week, right? I've been absolutely destroying gold lately. So one of my big trades, one of my focuses for this week is definitely going to be on gold. How many gold traders do we have in the building tonight, family? If you trade gold, go ahead and drop a 3 in the chat real quick. I want to see how many of you guys actually focus on gold, because I think we have a nice setup forming for us this week. All right. Obviously, things can change depending on the news on Wednesday and Thursday. But based off what I would like to see, which is still continuation in dollar strength, we might have a play here coming up. All right, so we might have a play. So let me go ahead and take a look at this and break this down for you guys really, really quickly, family. So overall, last week, we actually ended up taking out that high level that I was telling you guys about. We were pretty much stuck in this range for almost a week, week and a half. And I told you guys that I really would have preferred for us to take out the high, right? Grab this liquidity and then shift to the downside. And that's exactly what we ended up doing, right? In fact, I mean, on Friday, if you guys were on my stream on Friday, right, shout out to you guys are all, that were on that stream on my personal channel, but we actually ended up taking some sells on gold a little bit early on, right, around these levels, and they just did not work out, right? I ended up getting stopped out. But I did mention to you guys before we got off stream that if we ended up getting back below this 1927 level, which we absolutely did, that I was going to jump back in. And guess what? I did, right? The moment we ended up breaking back below this level, because I was still very much bearish, right? We got stopped out because we ended up, it was like literally off of this right here, right? We ended up getting stopped out right off of this key level, trying to see if we can continue off of this engulfing on that 5 minute. It just didn't work out, right? But we were patient. We waited for the extremes to get taken out. And then once we got back below structure, I was in there. I was able to catch this entire move right there. In fact, actually, a lot of you guys ended up taking that as well, right? I actually got a ton of messages from people that were saying that they actually took that gold and that they actually profited off of this gold position, right? So that was a phenomenal play, right? So yeah, we ended up catching this move. I ended up making a couple $1,000s just off of this, right? Now I lost 500 on my first attempt, but we ended up making like 2,000 on the drop. So overall, if you want to really average it, it was around 1,500 bucks I ended up making on that position, right? So that was a really good trade. But I think, family, we have more downside to go, right? I think we have more downside to go. But what I would be interested in is, I would really prefer for us to actually give us some type of a deeper correction first here on gold, right? Is it possible for gold to just drop from right here? It actually is, right? I mean, we did just spike up right here, ended up taking out this high literally as we're speaking right now. And it is possible for it to shift lower. I don't think I'm gonna chase that if that happens, right? I'm not a big fan of chasing it this low in the range, right? So I would personally either just let that go and I'll just completely not even try to trade it. But if we can see a pullback, right? I have a couple key levels I'm gonna keep my eyes on, right? Because at this point, this high, in my opinion, should probably be strong, right? I think it could actually be strong and it actually could hold weight. So what I'm going to be looking for overall here is how we react off of this 1924 level, or we could even go a little bit higher, right? And I actually like this level up here a little bit higher than what I initially had it. All right, it's either we're gonna go off from this 1924 level to continue short. The hell was this? Hold on. Right, 1924, or I'm a big fan of 1928. Okay, it's either we go from 1924 to go back into the bearish trend, or 1928. Now those are big moves. I mean, this is still a a pretty decent, distance from each other. That's around 40 pips, right? So yeah, I'm comfortable taking a sell, but if I am going to sell, it's going to be off of one of these key levels, right? To look for more continuations to the downside. Okay? So based off of solely technicals, that is what I'm looking at. Things can change depending on what happens on Wednesday and Thursday with PPI, CPI, and retail sales. But based off what we know now, based off of technicals that we're looking at right here on these smaller time frames, those are the two levels that I'm very comfortable looking for some plays off of. So that's exactly what I'm going to be looking for. Okay? So gold is going to be setting up nicely, I believe, this week. We just got to be patient and allow the market to show us really what level it wants to play off of. I'm comfortable taking a stab on either or. All right, like I'm comfortable taking a stab here if it shows itself, right? If it presents itself. In order for me to take a stab at this level, though, I'm gonna be a lot more patient, 100%. Like I want to see us come here and then give us an actual reason to go short first, right? Like come up to here, cause a break of structure back to the downside, and then on a retest, I'll take that, right? So I'm gonna be a lot more patient here, taking it within the middle of the range. But if we come all the way to the higher side now, see this, I don't need no patience for this one, right? Because if we're able to go all the way back to the 1928, which is honestly low-key what I would love to see, I kind of would prefer that to happen for the better risk reward and stuff, and it just looks a lot better from up there. I'm taking it probably as soon as we get up here, right? Like the moment we actually get up into this 1928.4 level, I'm just going to take the trade and I'm just going to set my risk. Okay? So two different levels, playing them two different ways. I'm going to be patient on this one, extremely patient, wait for my confirmations because of where we're playing within the middle of the range. But up at this one, I'm very comfortable just taking the trade because we're up at the extreme levels either way, right? And our stop isn't going to be too much. Our stops can be right above this high, around 5 pips above the high, and then we just got to go ahead and just deal with whatever happens either way for both of these positions. But gold is a main focus of mine definitely this week. Absolutely. Okay? So that's one of them. The next one, I see you, Eric. GJ. Let's talk about GJ real quick, right? Because all these yen pairs this week started off, they opened extremely bearish, right? The yen's gained strength, but all these pairs that are traded against the yen ended up opening very bearish, right? Like USD JPY ended up dropping at the open, right? GJ dropped at the open. I mean, pretty much every single yen pair ended up dropping at the open. To be honest with you, I have no idea why it happened, right? I literally have no idea, right? There's nothing on the calendar that I could see that would have caused this. Maybe I can't see the Sunday on here, but I personally don't know, right? I haven't done my research on it, but we did see a lot of yen strength. What do I think is going to happen next, though? Well, I still want to look for upside here. You guys know me. I'm a bull, all right? I'm a GJ bull, absolutely. Still long-term GJ bull. Again, the keyword there is long-term. I'm still a GJ bull. But it really depends, and this is what I'm going to be playing off of, right? We have this key level that I just highlighted. I think I'm going to be making my decisions on what I do with GJ depending on how we continue to play off of this level. Because this level is a very significant daily and weekly level. And it is a level that I still think could potentially hold overall. But it really depends on what happens with it. I wouldn't be surprised, if we did run this level one more time, right? Just to possibly capture some liquidity that's been just building up below here. But overall, if we break that level and come back within the range, I'm bullish all day long. Right? I'm bullish all day long on this. Right? If we run the low and then we come back above the range, I'm bullish all day long. Now, do we even have to break this low though? Do we really have to break this low? Necessarily we don't. Right? We really don't have to. So another thing that I would do if we don't break the low and then give us the rebound back within, which is one of my favorite plays, if we don't get that, then I might even consider taking some more longs if we're able to go ahead and get back above this key level right here that we just created, the 183,800. Right? If you really look at this, this is a very interesting level, right? If price actually does get back above that level, then I wouldn't be opposed to looking for some more long positions off of that neither. Like I wouldn't be opposed to it, right? And then I'll be targeting these highs, and then I'll be targeting this high, right? And then obviously I'll just continue to target all these highs, you know, as much as we possibly can, right? So two ways I'm gonna be looking for GJ, and there's only gonna be two ways, right? Is it possible for us to just continue to sell? It is, right? If we do sell off, I'm just not interested in the sells personally, right? So I really don't care if price sells off. If it just sells, then it is what it is. I'll be trading gold anyways. But I need to see break of this and then a rebound back within, and then I'll go bullish. Or we actually get back above 183,800, and then I'll also consider going bullish as well. I personally don't care for the sells. I just want to wait and be patient for the buys. If it presents itself, amazing. If it doesn't, so be it. I'll be focusing on something else then at that point. Right, so that is just going to be a very simple play here on what I'm doing for GJ. It's nothing too crazy, right? I'm not complicating it whatsoever. I'm just going to be playing the what if, right? Or the if this type of scenario. If price does this, then I'll do that. If price does that, then I'll do this. If price just sells off and just continues to sell, then I just won't get in it regardless. It's not my interest. Okay? All right, so let's see what you guys are talking about real quick in the chat. Took that gold play below size as I wasn't able to monitor it. Still hodling, right? Yeah, nah, great catch. I mean, that gold was phenomenal. Right, that gold was an absolutely phenomenal play. I actually ended up closing my positions. I typically like to close my trades personally, right before the market closes, because I typically like just to pay myself. But yeah, if you're still holding, I mean, it was a great move. It was a great move. Let's see, the Bank of Japan governor comments on wage growth. That's why it dropped. The Bank of Japan was talking ending negative interest rates this weekend. Really? See, now that's a different conversation. That's been happening since last month. Yeah, see, that's a different conversation. I also heard that as well, right? There's been, talks about them finally leaving the negative interest rate territory. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been extremely bullish GJ for years now. Like literally, I kid you not, for about a year and a half to 2 years, I just been long-term bullish this thing. But if they actually leave negative territory, it's gonna be tough for me to continue to be a GJ bull, right? Because at that point, I think them leaving negative territories is really gonna make a big statement in these markets, and I think that the yen, the actual yen, can really start to gain a lot of strength off of something like that happening, right? So who knows if it actually does end up happening, right? There's been rumors of this already in the past numerous times. But if they did, oh man, GJ is going to hell, right? All these yen pairs are going to hell the moment they leave negative interest rate territory. So that is definitely something to be aware of. That can absolutely shake things up. But I don't know if it's going to happen. I doubt it happens personally. I just really doubt it. But if it did, yeah, things are going to be crazy. All right, so GU, right? Let's take a quick look at GBP USD real quick, right? So I was looking at certain scenarios last week. Overall with GU, I'm a big fan of still looking to short GU long term. Obviously, things can change based on the data that's coming out. But overall, I would love to see us really continue to go short here on GU personally. All right, like I'm a big fan of it. I think there's a good chance that we do, just continue to go lower and lower here for GU. Where I would be interested though in looking for some opportunities though for GU will probably be somewhere up here in this supply zone up here. Right? I would be a big fan of looking to short GU if we're able to see us actually make our way up to that 1.257 level. And then from there, I'll be a big fan of actually looking to go back to the downside and go ahead and just, taking out all these lows. Right? So I think that's a very interesting play here that I'm actually very interested in seeing if we can actually play off. Right? Something like this could be, very interesting overall. Right? So I'll see how price plays off of this. Obviously, if you guys are a part of the premium family, the premium community, we'll probably be able to do this live together in real time if price actually gets up there throughout this week, which I see no reason why it doesn't. But yeah, we'll be able to actually look at this together and see if we can get an opportunity together live to get involved in this. But Yeah, something like this is interesting for GU. Now I do see a little bit of this imbalance here to the left. I see some imbalance up here as well. That price could eventually go and target if it wants to, right? But I think for now I'm comfortable with looking at, this type of scenario right here for sure, and then just seeing how price plays off of it. All right, so that's my GU overall. Obviously, like I said, things can change based off what happens on Wednesday and Thursday, but for now, based off a technical perspective, I would be comfortable looking at something like this for sure for GU. All right, so those are going to be my focuses, family. Gold, GJ, and then GU I'll throw in there as well. And we'll see ultimately how those end up playing off, for sure. But we do have the rest of the team on, and I want to go ahead and give them a chance to go ahead and do their thing as well. Mark up some charts, give you guys some analysis. You guys can also go ahead and send all your favorite pairs in the chat real quick, and we'll make sure that we get to as many of them as possible. Right, so Ray, if you're ready to go ahead and take over and do your thing, by all means, the floor is yours to provide that value.
Yes, sir. What's going on, family? Hopefully, everybody's having a magnificent Sunday. Hope y'all are doing blessed and not stressed. I'm super excited to be on here with all of you guys. Big shout out to the boy for getting us started off today. Definitely resonated with a lot of the setups. I agree on a lot of them. I definitely agree with the bearishness this week on the DXY. I'm kind of in the same boat as you there. I am hoping that we could potentially get a sweep of these highs to start to continue to the downside. Primarily, I'm looking for, bare minimum, even if, and here's the thing about understanding multiple time frames, guys, even if the market wants to rebound and start going bullish, because we could obviously say, okay, we took these lows out here, we created this low. There is the slim chance that we end up making like this inverted head and shoulders type pattern, or this could be somewhat of an area of accumulation, right? There's always that possibility, especially coming out to the daily chart. We see on a higher time frame, we are making higher highs and higher lows, right? But at the same time, me being more of an intraday type of trader, I am looking at this more so on what I believe is going to happen this week, right? Regardless of what happens later on, we can adjust to that. Okay. But so far as what I see happening this week, I want to go bearish as well. I'm looking for us to drop at least down to, let's say, 101 points. I'd say 101.5, right? 101.5. I do believe that we're in this consolidation phase of the market. So I am looking for this area of manipulation, right? I want to see the highs get cleared, because I'm looking at the highs that we're currently forming. And although we have tapped into this area of supply, I personally don't see this high being strong enough yet to send the market significantly lower. So, in understanding that, I do want to see, a little more volume come into the market. And for me, volume not necessarily being an indicator or anything, but volume just being the size of the candlesticks. The bigger the candlestick, in my opinion, I feel like that lets you know that institutions are active. So when you hear the terminology like trade with the banks and stuff like that, I tend to look for footprints that match up with other large footprints. So as we look over to the left, obviously we have this huge buy to sell area where we have a lot of bullishness that came into the market within these few bullish candles. So I am looking for a pretty large bullish candle to come. It doesn't necessarily have to match the size of this exactly, but I do feel like we should get, that up thrust in, or that spring motion of what some people will call it, into this a little steeper into this area of supply. Understanding that the area of supply is about 75 pips large. I'm not looking for it to necessarily sell just yet. We've only popped into that area about 1 pip. So considering that supply is 75 pips and we only tapped into it by 1 pip, there's still 74 more pips to the upside that this market could, go and still be respecting supply. So I am looking for this to play out a little bit longer over time. Maybe it breaks lower and then comes up. But overall, I'm looking for market to come a little bit higher, hopefully to like the 105, 105.5, possibly 105.4, somewhere in that area. 105.5, 105.4. If we can get up there, I'll definitely feel good about selling this because we would have then sweep the liquidity resting above that high. All right. Now, in understanding that, we can then go to other time frames that are other currencies that correlate with this particular pair, primarily being GU for me. GU is my personal favorite on this particular trade setup. So what it is that I see happening, considering that I expect the DXY to sweep highs and then drop, that means GU, which moves inversely, because if you understand how currencies work, and just real quick for the people that are new, let's say you have GBP, right, USD, and then you have, USD, whatever, right? Don't really matter. Let me do it more like this. So any pair that ends in USD, if the DXY is bearish, then that means the USD, anything that ends in USD should be bullish, and vice versa. If the DXY is bearish, anything that starts with USD should be bearish, right? So considering that, again, I expect the DXY to go bearish after it spikes up, then GU should do the opposite. It should spike down and then start to go up, right? So here's what I see potentially happening for GU. I really like this area just primarily because, we did take out so many lows, and this market has been trending down for quite a while. Again, not necessarily saying it has to go up and make brand new highs, but I do see us going at least for, let's say, about 200 pips, right? Hopefully I could get about 300 out of the move, but realizing how we did take liquidity from this low, now we're playing around in this low here, where we did have this sell to buy area right there. I do see this area having some potential to send the market up bullish. All right. So that's just what I see on the daily time frame, right? On the daily time frame, this is a strong area. You had some reactions in the past as well, but then more on an institutional level, on a smart money concept perspective, we've also been clearing out lows to where we could see some profit taking take place and see some bullishness come into the market. All right. Now, again, as we go to the lower time frames, that's where you can start to focus a little more on the specifics of your entries. Obviously, the market could reverse from here, and I may take a jab at that because I'm always willing to take a shot at the market and willing to take a loss in order to get the bigger overall move. There's a lot of times you want a move to happen and the market does something else. So with that being said, my my optimal trade entry that I would like is for the lows to get swept. I want to see us actually attack 1.2445. If we can get underneath that, I would love to start taking some longs underneath this low right here, right? But I'm also aware that the market could end up respecting in here, because if I do come down to the lower time frames, I do see how on the lower time frames we did, sweep a low here. Right after sweeping this low, we make a new high. After we make that new high, we respect this low, and then we make another new high. So just understanding how this low ultimately leads to this high here, there's always the possibility that this zone is, an area of demand that's being respected. And if this is an area of demand that's being respected, we could see a demand chain start to form where the market wants to come here and actually end up respecting this little area of imbalance here. Okay. So I'm keeping my possibilities open to where I'm willing to take a shot there, and take a slight little risk on that particular setup, because even if I lose there and I'm able to get back in underneath what is it, 2445, if I'm willing to take that risk and then get in underneath this low here, I can make all of that money back and some if this trade ends up going the way that I think it can go. So that's just a situation there where, we'll just see how it ends up. Like when it actually gets there, that's when I'll cross that bridge, right? I'm just giving you guys some possibilities. But overall, I'm looking for a higher low and then go bullish, or I'm looking for a sweep of the low and then go bullish on GU. All right. As I come on over to GBP CAD, I would like to see us actually, I want to see somewhat of a continuation to the downside, and then similar to GU, I'd like to see us start to go bullish again. I do think we have a chance to start going bullish. Just looking at what's going on over here to the left, we take lows, end up making new highs. Then we actually come back and respect that overall low that led to that fresh new high. And now this low here ended up making a high way up here. So we have to assume that there is a lot of demand within this low, because this low ultimately led to a high. All right, that was over 400 pips away. So just in us understanding that, I do anticipate that there is some demand in that low. So if there is demand in that low, I do think we can sell down one more time, okay? So if we can sell down one more time, clean up the charts just a little bit. So if we can actually sell down one more time, that would make me feel better just about buying overall. I don't want to, be too early of a buyer, because I do think that these relative equal lows can get swept one more time. So I think a lot of people will start buying prematurely. And as they're buying prematurely, liquidity will begin to be engineered underneath that low, because we know that average retail traders are buying right here. Okay. So as this pocket of money gets bigger and bigger and bigger, the more people that are buying this double bottom, I can see the market selling off one more time. And once that pocket of liquidity is actually taken, I can then see, the bullishness that I anticipate. So essentially, I'm looking at this the same way I'm looking at GU in a sense, to where this would be the impulse and this would be more of the correction right here. So now we have that corrective price action that can then lead to another impulse. All right. So that's essentially what I see happening on GBP CAD. All right. So hopefully we get that. I'm looking forward to, seeing how this setup plays out. Obviously, this is a weekly outlook. So, this trade is probably another, maybe another day away, possibly. Maybe it gets up there for New York. We'll just have to see. But the best entry I'm looking for would be like 7136. But anytime it gets into the shaded area, I'm gonna start, getting ready to push the button. But if it comes up to, 7136, I'll probably take the trade with, no hesitation whatsoever. All right. So that's what I see there on GBP CAD. Now let's take a look at G odd. G odd is dropping as I anticipated. I want G odd to come down, sweep these lows one more time. All right. And go into like, what price point is this? Like the 9483 area. All right. Like once we get down there, I want to start, looking for buy opportunities. Just because understanding what's going on. We create a low, we take a low, then we make new highs, right? Now, the thing to recognize about the highs is that there is liquidity within the highs, but there's also liquidity in the retracement also. So realizing that, the low took liquidity, but the retracement is creating it right above it. That gives us a target for whenever we decide to buy again. Now we have liquidity that we're seeking after, right? Because it acts like a magnet and it attracts price towards that area. So considering that we do have these, weak highs here, I do see that the market has potential to push down underneath these lows. And then if we can respect that area of demand right here, I'll be then looking to take longs, right? So that's something that I see happening on GBP AUD. So another pair that I'm super excited for. I would definitely like to see that, pan out and play in our favor, right? Let me just make sure I'm checking real quick. Check the chat. Okay, cool. I'm not missing much. I just wanted to make sure I checked the chat. See if you guys had any questions, comments, concerns. But definitely glad to see that it is pushing down. That is exactly what I wanted to see. Hopefully we can come down into this price point, end up respecting and target those highs. If we do target those highs, that'll give us about a 1 to 10 risk to reward trade setup. And that's what we love to see. We love to see 1 to 5s, 1 to 10s, 1 to 15, 1 to 20. That's what we go for, right? So just continuing to go on. That was a trade that played out last week. Hopefully you guys caught that. If you are in the community, I know you guys, that was one of the setups that I did send into my chat. So that played out beautifully. Hopefully you guys were able to benefit from it. I would say we could sell to buy here, but I'm not really interested in selling in these wick areas. Although I do think there's a chance it rejects, from a risk to reward perspective, you could probably, take a short here, but it's like at this point, I don't want to chase it. Like if you took it from 11,885, you got your move. You got your 1 to 5. Just let it be. When a buy opportunity presents itself, I'll possibly look for some buys as well. All right. So that's pretty much all of the GBP pairs that I just pretty much broke down. I will take a quick look at some indices as well. One thing that I see happening is I want to see us pop up to 15.4. And we could pop up to at least 15,400, maybe 4.1 in this little pocket right here. I'd be curious to see if we can continue bearish. Man, I missed this sell by literally nothing. Like my alarm didn't go off because if we zoom in, you kind of see I just missed it by literally probably a few pips, like not even much, right? So unfortunately I missed that. Shout out to Eric though. I did see Eric caught that, caught a banger on that trade setup. So shout out to you and everybody else in the community that ate off of that. But outside of that, I am looking just for continuations to the downside on NAS. Just primarily just seeing where the market can return bullish. I'm not ready to buy yet, right? Typically how I trade is I look for areas where I anticipate buys. And if we're not ready for those buys yet, I'm going to continue to sell. So for me, understanding that I'll probably be looking to take buys in the 14,900 area, 14,900, 14,800, where in that little pocket right there, I feel like we do have more selling to go. I do feel like there is liquidity being left behind underneath these lows. So with that being said, I would like for us to clear a little bit of highs in terms of, these highs here. And as we clear that, fill in areas of imbalance, I'll be curious to see if we can actually fall over and continue to the downside. that is something that could probably play out tonight. If so, in the morning, just depending on how long this market wants to take to retrace to this area. But again, once we get to like 14 or 15, 410 around that area, I'll probably be looking for a short opportunity, in this little region right here, right? And again, every trade I take, as long as it's 1 to 5, I'm comfortable with it. Because with 1 to 5 risk to award, you can literally be right like 20% of the time and make money. Now, obviously, you are going to partial out along the way. That is considering that you hold the trades the entire time. But for me personally, I like at least 1 to 5 before I even partial out, right? I don't partial out unless I hit a 1 to 5. So as long as we got that, we should be good to go. Okay. Razor Beast, thanks. Check out Tesla. Oh wow. I've personally never marked up any like I've never marked up a stock, I'm gonna be honest. But you know, we could at least take a look at it. I don't even know the symbol for Tesla. TSLA, yes I do. I'm tripping. TLSA, I did know that actually. Uh Now I know stocks are more driven by, the earnings and stuff like that. I'm gonna be real, I'm not a stock guy. Like I don't even really want to pretend that I am. But if you want my personal analysis on it, I'd say if you can trade stocks the way you trade currencies, I would say you got some money resting up here that we probably want to come after. I know people are going to be looking at the shorts from here and looking for this continuation, but I honestly think that that's a trap. I think that that's a trap because you have some money left above it. All right. So I feel like there's still money up here where people are going to try to go short. I think they're going to get wrecked. And then as we pop up here and clear out like $275, once we get up there, I think we can then potentially get some shorts. But then also, stocks are so bullish, especially stuff like Tesla. I don't expect it to drop far or anything. So the other thing, it depends on how you want to trade it, because even if it drops, you can't expect it to drop for long. Tesla is one of the top performing stocks, if I'm not mistaken, right? So, even if it drops more on an intraday perspective, what it'll do long term is I feel like it'll probably continue bullish. Elon always got something up his sleeve. We got some, some soft highs up here that I feel like eventually we'll go and revisit. I definitely feel like long term, Tesla ain't going nowhere, so it ain't gonna drop too far. But that's just my intraday perspective. What I could see if you want to trade it like a day trader. You know what I mean? Um, Apple event Tuesday. Yeah, see, y'all getting outside of my realm of expertise. I mean, I'm pretty sure that helps them though. I mean, like the VR headsets and stuff. Like, bro, that's lit. I can't wait until that drops. When that thing drops, I'm definitely dropping. What is it, like 3 bands? Do y'all know how much it is? I think it said like 3,500 or something. I'm most definitely dropping that. That's one of the coolest things I ever seen. The fact that you can control it with your bare hands and you don't even need the handheld controllers and stuff. That's lit. I will definitely be getting that. EA, let's take a look at it. Yeah, that's what I'm ready to like. When does that drop? Drop it in the chat if you know when that drops. I don't know when that's actually gonna drop. So I'm a little more bearish on Euro AUD. I see bullish potential at like 6685, but I'm not trying to get suckered into it. Although I do see the potential there, I do think we have some money resting here as well. So if we can come clear those lows, then I probably feel a lot more comfortable about taking some longs. I feel like this is just textbook scam right here. Just I feel like everybody gonna be wanting to take this. They're gonna say, "Oh, look at this big impulsive move, impulse correction." By I don't see it. I'm gonna be honest, I don't see it. Even though this candle, it don't look bad, but I don't think it's gonna be that easy. I'll just be honest. I don't feel like it's gonna be that easy. You just buy, and I feel like you're gonna get a little more out of this pair. Because the thing with me, in order for me to take a higher low entry, I don't want to see anything more attractive to the left. So the fact that if I'm gonna take a higher low trade right here, I don't want to see equal lows right beneath it because that's more attractive for sellers. If I want to buy, I want to see all of the liquidity that sellers are going to attack. I want that to be taken care of first. So I can't take that trade with confidence with liquidity resting over here. So I would say we're going to sell until we take out like 6635 around that area. And if we can clear that out, like 6635, 6636. Yeah, let's just say 35, just give y'all a round number, right? Then I'll probably be more inclined to take buys. So for right now, it's like, it's kind of like get in anywhere you can fit in on the sell side. Right here, you could probably get a little bullishness, but I don't think it's gonna make a new high or nothing. I feel like even if the market goes here, I'm not buying it personally, but if you were to get a sell, maybe you wanted to, retrace a little bit more and then you can get a sell opportunity. Or maybe you even retrace a little steeper into this area. Because how many times have you taken a sell, the market started going in your direction, and then the market comes back to revisit that initial sell, and then you get the move you always wanted. That happens a lot, right? That happens to a lot of people. And that's why some of the biggest issues we have as traders is moving our stops to break even too soon, right? You don't want to move your stop to break even too soon because that's something that happens a lot. And that's why I typically don't move my stops to break even until I break this low completely, right? Once I break that low completely and now I partialed out, whatever happens after that, that's fine. But so far as my initial entry, you gotta stand strong. You know what I mean? So I could see this potentially happening because this high is still a little soft in my opinion. It doesn't have necessarily as much, strong candles in it. So maybe we pop back up, we fill in a little bit more of this area of imbalance because, it's not that many pips. It's just like 15, 20 pips or so. But I do think we can pop a little deeper into it, right? So I feel like this sell is just building liquidity. We pop back up, clear that sell out, and then we'll possibly continue back to the downside. So I've seen this happen all too many times before. I do think this high will hold though, because we do have a nice sweep of these highs, then the market makes new lows. So overall, I do have faith in this high, but I don't have as much faith in this one. So I think we clear that out, then we can continue bearish and see what happens from there. All right. I don't even know which chart that is you're looking at. This is Euro AUD. This is Euro AUD. All right. If you ever get confused, just look in the top left corner. The top left corner or trading view will always let you know what chart we're looking at. All right. So I could see that potentially happening. Only reason I won't take the buys is because this is not guaranteed to happen. I'd rather just wait for the sell, to be honest. but play it how you wish. I'm not gonna tell you what to do. I'm just telling you what I do. So overall, Euro CAD, I took a jab at this last week. Went into profit pretty decently. Ended up coming back to my entry. So now at this point, I want to see us clear this wick out. Okay. If we can clear this wick out here, I'll probably be looking for buys a little bit more deeper into this range right here. Now, it is a pretty large area that we could take this trade from. So I will go down to the lower time frames and probably execute off of lower time frames. But overall, I see this playing around a little bit more. I want to see it build up a little more steam and then eventually be ready to, turn around, start going bullish. I do see, we have some liquidity left behind here that we can target. I just want us to, retrace steep enough to actually go get it and fill in this little void of liquidity right there. All right. So that's something I see on EuroCAD. I don't trade Euro pairs as much as I trade GBP pairs, but at least figured I'd look it over with y'all. So y'all got my analysis on that. EuroCAD, Euro odd, Euro chef. Gave this as well in one of my personal setup chats. If you're in Profit Society, you should have probably seen that. But overall, nice setup. I'm looking forward to continue bullish. To go clear out the highs at 0.9603 up there. So whenever we get up there, definitely want to, take profit on these trades. So overall, a nice setup. If you can get a re-entry, so be it. Maybe we get it, maybe we don't. But if you did want to take this position, I'd probably be looking to get in at 0.95, 43. 0.9543. Again, that's 0.9543. That would be like a continuation type of setup. But so far, so good on this setup. I was actually proud of myself because I never trade CHF pairs. I had a friend tell me CHF stands for confirmation has failed. So like once I heard him say that, it kind of tickled me, made me laugh. And I just personally never been big on Swiss franc. But last week I kind of got a little desperate and I was like, you know what, I gotta trade something. I'm a day trader. I love to trade every day. So even if I gotta wait for days and stuff for my setup, I'll come to these exotic pairs and I'll come to these, currency pairs that I don't trade that often because truth be told, man, I mean, there ain't nothing wrong with them. A lot of times they be a little more consistent because there's not as much volatile news coming out on it. It's like the country is more in a stable place. That's one thing I even noticed about Swiss franc recently. It's not so much, stuff going on as much as it is, at least in America and Great Britain and stuff, to where sometimes these pairs move a little smoother than you would anticipate. So, who knows? Maybe I start trading CHF a little more in the future. But last week it definitely treated me well between that and G Chef, which is a headshot. Like these are the entries I love. Right? Absolute headshot. But between those two, who knows, man? I might switch up a little bit. I might add that to the arsenal a bit, right? Um so far as gold is concerned, I hate gold. I'm only looking at it because most of y'all ask us to look at it. I'm looking for a little more bearishness. I want to see us come take out 1914. Right. I want to see us come take that out. Maybe we go bullish in this area, in this point of interest. Maybe we go bullish in this point of interest. But I'm bearish until I reach these two areas, right? I'll react out of each one as necessary. But until then, I'm probably going to be looking for shorts, right? I'm not taking shorts. I'm just telling you, if I was you, that's what I would be looking for. Like, I don't trade gold often. I wanted to trade it last week. I wanted to take the sell at 1948. Never got it. So I just never took a trade on it last week. But would have been a nice trade, but that's how gold typically does me. So me and gold don't have the best relationship. Well, last but not least, I'm gonna take a look at USD CAD. All right. Last but not least, we want to take a look. So far as USD CAD is concerned, I want to take this setup at like 1.368. This is something that I'll probably take for certain. Just seeing what we cleared out to the left makes me a little more comfortable to take this trade. USD CAD is another pair that's not like at the top of my list of pairs to trade, but seeing how we did clear out this high way back from what is this, April 28th, right? So obviously it's been a handful of months since then, and we did just come and clear out that high. We had some nice bearish momentum coming to the markets. Now I want to see us clear out some highs, but ultimately find a high that will respect. If I come down to, say, the 5-minute, I have reason to think that this high can hold up. I do like the volume in the candle. Again, for me, volume is more the size of the candle and not so much the volume indicator. That's how I look at it. So I don't want to confuse anybody. Volume is an excellent tool to use if you use it and you know how to use it effectively. So if you have the indicator, by all means, go for it. I am just saying that when I look at it, I just look at the sheer size of the candle. So understanding this, in my opinion, this looks like institutional footprint. This being an institutional footprint, I'm looking for activity in that candle. So once the market retraces back to 1.368, I look to take a short with an 11 pip stop loss, go target this low. This is where I will close 50% of my trade and let the rest run. All right, I'll close 50% of my trade. I'll also move my stop loss to break even and see how far we can go. All right. And this should correlate with my DXY analysis as well. I see us going at least, down here, right? Once we get down here, maybe we react, maybe we keep going. Again, I'll cross that bridge when I get there. All right. So that's essentially all I see, guys, right? Again, don't want to be long, definitely want it to be strong. But if there's any other comments, questions, concerns for me, definitely drop them in the chat. Outside of that, that's all I got. Let's hope we start the week hot. But talk to me, guys. Everybody good? Everybody straight? You are in the Profit Society, you're in a part of the trade community, course students, etc. I will go ahead and mark these up, make sure you get them. Other than that, if you're obviously on the call, just on watching on YouTube, this will be uploaded. So you guys can also stay in tune with the setups from watching the recordings as well. But other than that, do we have any other comments, questions, concerns? If not, that is all I see for the day. I went over GBPs, Euro, I went over some indices, went over gold, went over a handful of currencies today. All right. All right, awesome. Well, look, I personally had fun with you guys. It was a blast. I want to encourage everybody to be very intentional this week. Trading is just one of those things where you have to be intentional to grow, family. So don't let Friday come around when the market closes and you don't make progress this week. Whether the progress is in profit balance or whether the progress is in your mindset, do something to make sure you progress in the right direction this week. whether it's journaling your trades, documenting, being specific of when you trade, trading the right confirmations, whatever it is, just make progress this week. I want to encourage everybody to do well. I'm hoping everybody has a phenomenal, profitable week. And I appreciate you guys, right? So, Abel, if you wanted to pick it up from there, if you had anything else you wanted to share, go for it. But
Mhm.
me, that's all I have for this evening. All right. I
Uh,
appreciate you guys' time.
for sure. Nah, man, that's pretty much gonna be it for this weekly preparation call, family. There was definitely a lot of things looked at. Obviously, the best thing to do is to join our Discord if you guys are not in it just yet. Anybody can join it. We'll definitely go ahead and be in there and answering any questions, comments, or concerns, or even just participate in the conversation. That isn't in there as well, family. So there is the actual Discord. If you guys are not in it just yet, make sure to join. If you guys want to trade with us live this week, 5-day free trial is definitely valid. You guys can literally go right to the link that you guys see in the chat. Join for 5 days. See how we do. If you like it, then continue to go with us. If not, you can always cancel before the 5 days is up. And it's no harm, no foul, right? So we appreciate you guys. We love you guys. Thank you guys for rocking with us. And we will see you guys next week in our next week's weekly preparation call. All right, y'all have a great rest of y'all night.